Yo, audience, we just want to say this is episode fucking 5. Do you believe we're here?
Oh, you're talking to me. I thought you were talking to the audience. Sorry, I'm all...
Yo, what's good? This is your boy, Young Jedi Fresh, and I am the OG of the Young GOG Podcast Show, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleague and partner in crime, this guy.
Yo, it's your boy Splashy. We out here. What up?
Sounds like a smooth R&B voice.
I gotta switch it up.
Got you. Yo, thanks for joining us again, guys. This is episode 005 of season 001 of the YG.
It's the Young G OG Podcast Show. YG OG Podcast Show.
Right, because we got two things going on. We got the YG OG Podcast Show. We got the Young GOG Podcast Show.
And then we have the YG OG Podcast Show.
Yeah, so it's different variations. Anyway, glad to be here with my homie. It's episode 5. I mean, this has been an experiment for us, so just to be here again, continuing. We love the feedback so far. Everybody's kind of, enjoying what we've presented so far, and we hope you guys are listening. So you want to introduce our kind of guest, but not really guest, because he's working back there?
Yeah, so for those that are listening on the podcast platforms, we actually have video out, and shout out to my man's Victor Van Gogh for blessing us with his presence. And we just wanted to do something a little different and start filming just to capture the viewers on YouTube and
to show the world that we're very handsome gentlemen.
Yeah, maybe you guys can
he's single.
Yeah, I am single.
I'm taken, but I'm always looking for things. Just kidding.
I mean, we love you. Oh, shoot, I just said her name. Anyways.
Yeah, you didn't hear that.
You didn't hear that. Anyways, so, yeah, we just want to, try this. We got a little nice setup over here. And maybe you guys can watch YouTube and listen the podcast on Spotify at the same time.
That would be weird, but hey, we're not judging anyone. If you want to watch and listen at the same time,
watch and listen.
Be our guest
and listen.
It's an extra view for us. Anyway,
what did we talk about last week?
Give me a recap, bro.
Last week we talked about New York versus LA, West Coast versus East Coast.
People do this anymore?
I was just following you. I don't know what this was.
People don't do that.
Is this
Raise the Roof?
Raise the Roof. Yeah. For those that are listening,
wow.
We have our palms up
in the air. It's like jazz hands.
Just watch the YouTube, all right?
Let's get on the YouTube channel.
So we talked about New York and LA and the differences. We also talked about candies to...
Well, you talked about candy at
Well, I talk about candies, yeah. And then...
Still trying to acquire that Mexican powder. Lucas,
yes.
Right,
oh, you remember.
I
It's because
I do the podcast with you.
It's because it's part of your name?
That's also true, so it'll be easy to learn.
And then later on, we talked about females at the end, which I think that could be
a whole
subject on relationships, dating, how maybe you found the one, because I'm still trying to find the one, and I haven't found the one.
You still the one.
I'm trying to think of a song that says...
that was a really old song. You guys probably don't even know that song.
You guys?
Yo, Splash been saying I'm tone deaf. I might be.
Please, email us if you think my man's is tone deaf. I'm telling you. Do the Sting sample again.
Actually, just email us. Like at this point, if you're looking for money, you need advice, sexual or relationship, just talk to us. We're lonely. No. Ain't nobody on our G chat. Oh, we got one email this week.
Shout out to one, two, three. Shout out to Sean one time.
Shout out to Sean, man. She hit us up a couple episodes back. Speaking of I'm not even going to repeat my tone, but the Juice WRLD track that you said, that was actually a sample, that was an original sample that they took from Sting's Shape of My Heart, which was also sampled by Nas on, It Was Written, but the song's eluding me. But email us and
email us.
Tell me that I'm incorrect and what the Nas song. It's the Young OG podcast. Is that right?
The YOUNG OG podcast show at gmail.com.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Here.
Why is this here?
What is this? Why? All right. So there's.
I mean, we're obviously gonna show it. So
What is this? So
I was feeling myself one day, and I decided to speak. Oh man.
For the listener, we can't forget about the listeners.
So guys, I have this framed picture of me from an article that the New York posted about New York's craziest closets. I was like the poorest person there because the other closets were like a guy who collected capes. I was like, who the fuck collects capes? So a woman who collected Birkin bags. Birkin bags were like 20 G's right off the bat. And mine was sneakers. This is my old apartment in Harlem. And I had a photo shoot done, a little article, and that's me. I was so hot during this fucking thing. This is the actual picture that was in the paper. So if you look really closely, Vic, I don't know if you can hone in on that. You could see the fog in my glasses. How lame is that, bro? Oh my God. This is like the best moment of my life. And I'm out here. My glasses are all fogged up and shit. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, enough about me.
So yeah, Joe.
We don't have to show this on camera for any longer.
Joe,
put that down.
Joe put this right angle to the left so like he could keep his eyes on me. I'm like, yo, chill out, B.
Bro, just
I know I'll be handsome and stuff.
He's still holding it, so I'm not really sure.
Yo. Anyways, shout out to man. I have OD food coma.
Shout out to Shine? Or
shout out to Shine and shout out
thanks,
to
yo.
the grandma
Appreciate
slices that I tried for the first time.
Oh, word. That was the first time you ever had grandma slice?
First time I had grandma
These
slice.
LA cats don't know, fam. For real?
Oof, yeah.
So-
Educate them on what a grandma slice is.
So before we get into the show, I'm a pizza snob. Like, I love pizza. I'm born and raised in New York, so pizza's like my first food.
Wait, hold up. Sorry to cut you off, but not to cut you off. I thought you said you're a piece of slob. All right, maybe
I guess.
But
Laugh at your own jokes. If you're not gonna laugh, who is, right?
As you were saying.
So I love pizza. This has really nothing to do with the pizza slice. I'm a pizza snob. But anyway, you guys know I'm a pizza snob. Grandma slice. My fellow New Yorkers, first time I had it was in Long Island, and the guy told me it came from there. I might be wrong. Email us if you know the history of the grandma slice. The grandma slice is probably a tri-state area thing. I've never seen it anywhere else. And basically, it's a square pie. And instead of the sauce instead of the sauce going down first, it's the cheese, then the sauce on top of it, a little bit of basil, thrown in the oven. You take it out of there. You eat it up. It's the best. It's the best. It's the greatest pizza.
You heat it up and you eat it up.
You heat it up, eat it up, beat it up. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't tried a grandma slice ever, definitely go to your local pizza joint. I would suggest going in New York first before you start venturing elsewhere. Shout out to the pizza places in New York that I frequent. The Far is out in Brooklyn. What up? Spumoni Gardens, Joe's Pizza, John's Pizza in the city, Prince Street. Y'all, I love y'all. You know, you see me there before.
We ain't getting no sponsors like this.
Nah, we not.
No, we
That was like a free plug right there, right?
Actually, I think I've had a grandma slice before. It just didn't taste like
that
the one
we just had.
Yeah, because we have pizza occasionally at our church for lunch and fellowship.
Uh-huh.
But I thought that was just like a deep dish slice. But
deep dishes are
But yeah, I remember people said, "Oh, this is the grandma slice," but it didn't taste like the grandma slice I had just earlier.
Sauce is everything, man.
Yeah,
so that
it was
might be
delicious.
it. But anyway, shout out to Grandma Slices one time. And shout out to Angelo's Pizza, where we order from right here in Maywood in New Jersey. Recording in New Jersey today, so shout out to them.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, you look like you're in deep thought.
Yo, we did that synchronized. Anyways, guys,
that's why we're doing the video.
What are we talking about today?
Talking about I really.
Actually,
I had a topic.
We had
what we were eating.
Yeah, we had a topic and we were eating.
That we were discussing.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if I want to put my man's Vic on blast.
Please just tell the story because it's freaking hilarious.
So
Van Gogh, we go with this? Tell it.
We go with this. He nodded his head. All right.
It's just hilarious.
So pretty much, we were having dinner. We're eating pizza. And somehow we're talking about
culture,
culture, and Vic talking to Joe about who he is, and DM me, whatever, link in bio, like all that jazz and whatever he does. And while I'm eating, I found out that Vic is actually not Korean. This whole time,
your boy was hurt, man. He was hurt. Like
my man's I've known for a few years now. We've gotten close, and close.
Wait, y'all known each other for years, and you just found out today.
Yeah, so pretty much like
Van Gogh been lying to you.
We talk about, you know, just life stuff. We worked on a few projects, and getting to know him. We connected spiritually as well. Shout out to Chow Worldwide one time.
Shout out to Chow.
Chow. Oh, I guess I gotta look here.
Shameless
Chow
plug.
Worldwide. If y'all don't know, just make sure you listen to it on our first episode on our podcast. But back to Vic. So he's my church brother in Christ. Unfortunately, he's not my Korean brother in Christ. I found out my man's is Chinese.
Nothing wrong with that.
And nothing wrong with that. But you just have this special connection. Like it's not like out of nowhere Vic was like, hey, by the way, I'm Chinese, but this guy's been hanging out with... I've only seen him with Koreans.
Right. You said you might have heard him speak Korean.
I might have heard him speak Korean. And I know
he eats Korean food.
He eats Korean food. We even broke bread at a Korean joint.
First time I met Vic, he was drinking soju.
Yeah.
So not really, but
not really.
Just throwing that in there.
But
reestablish his Korean.
We had Korean food. I saw him with Korean people.
Use chopsticks.
He goes to a Korean church. I'm like, how can you not be Korean?
Homeboy must be Korean American.
Oh, man. So as I'm enjoying my grandma's house, I'm like, I couldn't believe it. Like, Vic was right in front of me. To like, and I was just so taken back. Again, I have Chinese homies. I have Korean homies. I just felt like I was just fooled.
Yeah, I guess it's not...
There's just...
Wow. Are you just... Like, I'm not Korean. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know you're not Korean.
Just double checking because I don't want to break your heart on air here. That we're live.
there's just like a Korean bond. You feel me? Like, how you have your Filipino brothers.
I don't have Filipino brothers like that. I have Filipino friends, but
yeah, Mikey. Yo, shout out to Mikey Mendes one time.
Motherfucking crazy, but shout out to Mikey. And sorry to interject. We may be going off the beaten path here. In my experience, from the Koreans that I've met, you guys are, again, this is my opinion. I'm not blanket stating anybody. I don't want anybody. Well, email me if you do think. Email us. If you think it's blanket or not, just email us.
We said email 15 times, so we'll say it 50 more times until you guys email us.
Well, it's the theyounggogpodcastshow at gmail.com. Spell it out. Email us.
Or if you're lazy, I actually updated our Instagram.
Oh.
So all you have to do is email. It doesn't say email us, but if you just
if you hit the link?
If you hit the link, it just automatically.
Cool.
Yeah. So, as you were saying.
In my experience with the Koreans that I met outside of Splash, because obviously we're friends, you guys seem to be a very cliquey. Like, I would have Korean acquaintances, and we'd be doing a project, like, yo, what are you guys doing after work? Or what are you doing after this? And they're like, well, gotta go. And I'm like, what? All of a sudden, the next thing I see on the gram, they're at drinking soju, spilling soju on each other, having a good time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why I get the invite, bro?
No,
maybe not spilling soju on each other.
You never. I don't know if you've had that experience, but you know how in school you have like group projects, and then your professor's like, "Hey, like go and like work with whoever you want to work with."
Yeah.
Well, obviously
I would always
Korean.
get picked.
Well, yeah,
he's Asian. He must be. He don't do all the work.
Right. But for me, I'm just kind of like looking at all the Koreans in the room, and we're like, oh, maybe we could all just kind of work together.
See, I would never do that. I'm like, where are the brown-skinned Filipinos? We must.
But then we could talk about it further later on. But then again, you're not Filipino. We just talked about this,
guys.
No. I mean,
I know what you're saying. But can you explain to the audience, because I like you to explain to them why I'm not Filipino or why I'm not Asian, and then I will explain, I guess, why I am Asian.
And we spoke about this last week too, about living in a bubble.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do everything with about this whole like Asians sticking to Asians. Well, I grew up in Koreatown. I've only been exposed to Koreans. Our first generation parents, they only you don't in Koreatown in LA you don't need to know a lick of English and you'll be fine.
Right.
You don't need to speak English because you know all your groceries, local businesses, everything they're all Korean. You have Korean lawyers. If not, you have a translator. And bottom line, what I'm getting to is that I've only
you basically were in Korea.
Yeah, in Korea
for most of your part in America,
and we've only been around other Koreans. I mean, there were other ethnicities out there too. A lot of Mexicans in LA, but. Specifically in Koreatown, how I was raised, we went to a Korean church.
Right.
We had Korean homies, all like went to the same elementary school, middle school, high school, and I think it's that bubble mentality. Whether you're Korean or not, I've also had Filipino homies who only hung out with Filipinos, so I wanted to kick it with them, but it was just like again that.
You grew up in that bubble.
Yeah, I grew up in that bubble, and I think for you. You said that you grew up with...
The only Filipinos I knew were mostly my family. My immediate family, obviously.
Yeah.
My parents and two siblings, younger siblings, and your aunts, your uncles, and your cousins. I mean, one of my aunts married a white guy who's Irish. So one married someone who was Puerto Rican. So I get that part.
Right.
But the only Filipinos I was really exposed to were Filipinos, but also at the same time, on the East Coast, specifically within the boroughs...
Right.
It was much different in the 80s and 90s. There weren't... I mean, now Filipinos are kind of... They are a little bit more known.
Yeah.
Growing up, I'm automatically Chinese. Like, you have chinky eyes, you're Chinese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
but
I just didn't have that bubble, and that's why... Not to cut you off or hold that thought, but it's interesting because what you said earlier when we were having dinner, you were like, Joe, you grew up with hip hop.
Yeah.
I learned hip hop.
Right.
And I thought that was a pretty prudent statement because you're absolutely right. Because one of the biggest things that I get that really really irritates me is that, most people will go, oh, you act black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, and I think we touched base on this last time. And I'm like, how do I act black? They're like, I don't know. You like hip hop music and basketball.
Exactly.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that means I act black?
Yeah, that means you're black?
Yeah, it means I'm black. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
That's what I had a problem with last week when I was...
But I get it. I get because I'm Asian and they see me emulating a different culture. They think I'm trying to emulate it on purpose.
Yeah. Not
understanding who I am. That's just who I am. That's what I grew up with.
Right.
It's really funny that we brought this up because Sam and I work together. Splash, and I'm using this.
And we also sit together.
And we sit right next to each other. Hence the reason why we created the Young G OG podcast show. So I'm at work, right? And I'm talking to the boss man, and the boss man has one of my counterparts in there. And he's like, yo, we're going to move you over to this client,
right.
Wendy. Let's call her Wendy for now, just so I'm not blowing spots up. And they're laughing, my colleague and my boss amongst each other. And because he made the comment, it's like, no, I think Joe will really get along with Wendy. And they're like, cackling. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, why? What? I was like, does she like sports? She's like, no, no, not at all. She's like, you're just a soulful dude.
Right.
And I was like, huh? And then I kind of clicked. I was like, oh, is it
because like Korea, soul, like...
No. Wow,
okay.
you that just went over.
Soulful, like...
He meant soulful.
Got him?
He meant soulful as...
But that makes sense too.
It does. Okay. But he meant soulful as in, you like black music.
That's what he...
You listen to Aretha Franklin. And I'm like, I don't listen to Aretha Franklin, but...
Man. I don't know who that is. I was just laughing, but I know Kirk Franklin. Yeah.
Same difference.
Okay.
I was slightly offended because I'm like...
Wow. Verbatim?
Yeah, verbatim.
Oh.
And listen, here's the deal, guys.
And they were like giggling, laughing.
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay,
right.
I see where this is getting at.
So kind of slightly offended, kind of like, okay, guys, very funny, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, wear a Bape t-shirt and like meet her or something.
I guess I'll wear some Air Jordans and, I don't know, bring fried chicken with me. Like, that's, again, I'm using a stereotype. That's not my thought. But it was almost like that's what I should have said because I thought it was a little disrespectful. And I knew they were joking. It wasn't like they were saying it in negativity.
And there's truth behind every joke. Like
there is. But okay.
We understand. We understand.
This is who I am, man. I'm 37 years old. I'm comfortable with who I am. If you guys want to paint me as... It used to bother me, but if you want to paint me as I act black or I emulate black culture or yada, 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 unless, like, you know me, then fuck off. Like, say your statements. Like,
All right,
that doesn't
Vic,
really...
make sure we bleep the... Nah.
So, listen, I try to watch my language, but you know where I'm at.
Say it from the heart. Say it.
Seriously, though, it's like...
Yeah.
It's listen, I'm not trying to emulate anybody. I love hip-hop. I've loved hip-hop my whole life. Sure. I mean, in my life, I predominantly grew up in my early years, formidable years, probably with Black and Latino communities, and I've always gravitated towards them. When I moved to Long Island, I got more exposed to white culture and you know, Italians, Irish people, and all that. But I also still gravitated to the Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, the Black folks, Jamaicans, the West Indians. I'm not hiding. This is who I am, and it is what it is.
Here's my question.
It irritates the fuck out of me still to this day. So whatever.
So there's,
Why everybody gotta be put in a box?
Yeah.
You're Korean, so you hang out with the Korean box.
Well, I don't. So
it's like a bento box. It's like, oh well, I'm only gonna eat the Koreans here, and then the Filipinos and the blacks.
No. But my thing is,
ridiculous.
what if? But my question to you is, what if it? So, well, the statement that we're trying to get at is you lived hip hop. I learned hip hop.
Right.
I lived in this Asian bubble, Asian culture.
Mm-hmm.
You learned it.
I lived it.
Well, you lived Asian culture.
Oh, in Asian, yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I'm saying
no.
I lived Asian culture.
Right.
Being in this bubble.
And I learned it.
And you learned it.
Yeah, that's a true statement.
I was about to like, you look at me like, what you mean?
I thought you inverted the words.
Nah. So, but what about doesn't that go for the Hispanic community too? And black folks? In terms of, because we talk about this Asian bubble or Asian culture.
Right.
Aside from whether you're Asian, Hispanic, or black, I feel like you're gravitated to the people...
Closest to me.
Yeah, closest to you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm a product of my environment.
Yeah.
New York is a very diverse town. Yeah. Hip hop was huge.
Well,
Still is.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is there's black culture.
Yeah.
Hip hop.
Culture.
Is
that necessary black culture?
Well, that's also my question too. Yeah, what exactly? Because I've heard somebody say black culture.
No, and I haven't. It's funnily enough when I worked at music labels, interned rather mostly, they would call head of black music. That's the hip hop guy. Like he runs the hip hop. But this is a great topic, and I'd love to use this as a remainder of the subject for the podcast. But at the end of the day, we're like, you know how you bucketed Vince? He's Chinese American, but we never said the American. You're Korean. You identify as Korean, but you're Korean American. I'm Filipino American, right? One of the biggest issues in our society is that because we don't fit the description of your traditional American, that you, Vic, and I will always be looked at as foreigners out in the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we look like how we look like, right? So I get it. And I know black people in this country have had a very difficult time, but also we have to look up to them as other minorities because they've laid down the groundwork for us to kind of follow.
Right.
And one of the things on the Asian side of things that pisses me off, because I think society and culturally as Americans, we normally kind of bucket Asians. Oh, well, they're the next rung below white folks, right? Because yes, a lot of us are educated. A lot of us have good jobs in the world. A lot of us have good family structures, X, Y, and Z. I don't think that's something because we're Asian. I think that other cultures do that as well. Maybe it's not as prominent, or maybe it's not as brought into light. But one of the biggest issues is that because our society paints these pictures and puts us in buckets, we'll never be truly Americans, even though we were born here, even though it doesn't even matter if we weren't born here. Like, let's say you came here when you were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. If you spent 15, 20 years here, you're American. And it's like, it's just like, that's kind of like the thing with this whole racism thing. Like, not to bring it up, like, all my black friends were like, yo, did you see Black Panther? I was like, hell yeah, I saw Black Panther. It was dope.
Yeah.
Yo, so diverse, right? The cast. And I was like, no. They're like, what do you mean? They were all black cast. I'm like, what does diverse mean?
Right.
And I'm like, I didn't see any Asians in it. I
Yeah.
didn't see any white. Well, there was a couple white people, but they're always in the movies. Right? I didn't see any other cultures in there, and it honed in on African culture.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't diverse, but it was a great step in making Black culture, African superhero, whether it be fictional, to the limelight, because they obviously have been kind of, white people have dominated Hollywood. White people have dominated society. But if we take a look at what we see in the movies, radio, and TV, it's not a clear depiction of what we see in this country. So it is what it is, I guess, because it's going to be a while before we kind of get over that hump. But I hate that. Like, you're black. You're acting black.
So my thought was whether. So we talked about bubbles, right? How I'm used to hanging out with just Korean people or Asians, not needing to speak any English, whatever. I felt like when I was going to school, all the black homies, they were just with themselves too, just with black people.
Agreed.
And that's why I feel like they have their own
stigma of other people.
Well, stigma of other people, and
words in your mouth.
But they live in their own bubble too.
100%.
So when people say, why do Asians stick together all the time? My question to
why do black people stick together? Latino people stick together.
Whatever you are, I feel like
it's true.
And
it's a double standard.
And that's why I feel like when you brought up Asian culture, like Asian bubble, like how come like you guys only stick to each other? I'm like, y'all stick to each other like all the time. Except you, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what I wanted to also just address. Like,
address it, bro. How do you feel? Tell. I mean, obviously,
it's definitely. I mean,
it rings a bell.
That's why. I mean, when you asked about Asian culture and like how we stick together, my thought was, wait, but when I was growing up, I wanted to play basketball with other ethnicity or just basketball with anybody, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Like none of the black folks wanted to play ball with me.
Yeah.
They were all crowded, which is it was just like, nah, we're not gonna like pick this like Asian. I don't know if it was because I'm Asian, but
like the last kid on the basketball team.
Last kid on the basketball
I guess
team.
I'll go with the Asian guy.
But I mean, what do you think? Because you're the one who brought up, like, can you tell us about how and why Asians like to stick together? But I feel like that's
true.
Isn't that valid kind of across?
It is. It's 100% valid across. I mean, I think naturally you're going to gravitate towards people who look and sound and like you, right? That's just natural as human beings. Because I was not in an environment with a lot of people who look like me. I had no choice but to fit in the communities that I am in.
Yeah.
Despite me not knowing about them and them not knowing about me. But most of the barriers that I've broken down is because instead of being the quiet Asian guy that how we're depicted in Hollywood and how people think about us, oh, you're Asian, you can't ball, or you're Asian, you must be good at math. I had to go, well, I don't see people who look like me outside of my siblings and my parents in my community.
Yeah.
But we share similar interests like basketball, cartoons, or food. So how do I kind of break the ice? And it's just like anything else in the world when you're learning about someone else. Or if you're interested or inclined to learn about someone, you're going to take the first step. Like if you were black, like let's say you're a homie that was a different ethnicity.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at you because you're a different ethnicity differently from any other person. I'm just trying to find common ground so that I can have a conversation with you. Like if you were sitting here and you were looking at your phone and you're like, and I'm like, oh man, you checking the highlights of the basketball game? Yeah. Yo, what's the score? 92-95. I'm like, damn, the Knicks, man, they're losing again. And you're like, yeah, I know. I found common ground. They're like, oh, you're a Knicks fan? And then like we could, like, that's what I was just exposed to. I had no choice. I didn't have a bubble.
Well, here's a good question. So you didn't grow up with other Filipinos like that?
No.
Or like yourself?
No.
So you grew up with Hispanics and
black folks and white folks.
Black folks and white folks.
Later, yeah.
And I don't know, we don't need to, but it naturally comes up, but the topic of stereotypes.
Yeah.
So
of course.
people, and we have
all ethnicities hold their own stereotypes.
All ethnicities have stereotypes.
Sure.
But for yourself, so did you have stereotypes?
Sure.
From
TV and what I've what I've heard on the radio.
Well, there's TVs and radios, but how about the people that...
My parents?
Yeah, like there's your parents, but then there's also your homies who might have their own stereotypes of other races. So did you lean on... Like, so... I guess because you're not... Because
I'm not I'm not black, I'm not Latino.
Yeah.
I'm an Asian American, I'm a Filipino American.
But not raised with Filipino...
Well, raised in my family.
Well, you were raised in... Yeah, but
not in a Filipino community.
Yeah, because I'm sure Filipino community have... Like we just said, they have... No, I know they exist. They have their own opinion and stereotypes of...
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense because
no, it does.
You're like a hybrid, so I'm like...
So growing up, my parents never directly said anything stereotypical about any minority. It was really mostly about white people. Which, okay, I understood. We're not white, so I get it. Like, you're talking about another race, how they, stop you from or prevent you from doing things, or they do things differently. Not saying they're preventing you from getting X, Y, or Z, but they do things differently. They're white people, yada, yada, yada. I heard more than that. I heard more of that. But then I have Filipino relatives, which is really funny because I don't speak to them anymore. But I have a Filipino auntie, is my mom's sister, and she married a Puerto Rican dude. Okay. And she used the N-word so loosely that it began to irritate me. Yeah. And one day I was just like, a black guy cut her off on the road. Right. I was probably like 12 or 13. She's like, fucking N-word. And I'm like, yo, what's that for? Yeah. Oh, he's just being an N-word. No, he's not. Like, what? I'm like,
what do you mean?
Yeah. You're brown skinned. Filipinos are brown. Yeah. Like, our race is brown. Filipinos. Right. Other Asians are, obviously yellow or whatever the color is that they label. Yeah. But ethnicity-wise...
we know for sure Vic is Chinese. Yeah. I mean, no wonder he's light-skinned.
He's a little light.
He's a little lighter, yeah. See, I got fooled about...
That's hilarious.
Anyways, he not Korean.
But that...
Nothing wrong with that. We just had to, bring it back.
Bring it back up. Let everybody know.
Right here, but
I'm like, yo, how are you going to use the N-word, brown skin, and you married a Puerto Rican dude who's also brown skinned? Yeah. She's like, we're different. I said, please. I was like...
you gonna be like,
that was like...
Girl.
And that was like the day where I was just like...
Wait,
I ain't fucking with you. Like, it's a wrap.
Wait, you're OG when you're like... Please. Like...
Straight up.
Like, who said... No.
I was 12 at the time. I was like 91.
Okay. He said, please. Okay. All right. Backing track. No, okay. I thought you'd be like... Girl, like, what you talking about?
It was one of those scenarios. I was like, you ever see the Swaggy P meme when he's just like,
and then there's the question mark
all around. I'm like, yo, you ain't making no sense. Like, my best friends are black. Like, what are you talking about? Well, subsequently, I don't talk to that part of the family anymore. Sure, was that kind of what you meant? Like,
I think
there was that, but it wasn't as much as maybe. I don't know what you experienced, and I'm not gonna assume that I did, but it was definitely there, but it wasn't that big. And my parents, I brought home all types of friends, and none of my parents never scoffed at any of them. My parents were firm believers of, if you tell me or if you show me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. And I made sure that the people entering my house, even to this day, are quality individuals. Skin color, religion does not matter. If you're a stand-up person, you do good things, you have good things in your heart. You share, you love. That's all that really matters to me. So, my parents really never really said
that's
don't bring black people home.
Yeah,
never ever had that conversation.
And I don't know if this is a blanket statement, but which I'm notorious for. But
blanket,
like from my parents, they want me to marry a Korean girl.
Sure.
And there's that. And I don't know if it's part of it is because we're like super traditional and like we want to keep it. It would just make sense.
Want to keep the blood pure.
We ain't mess with no Chinese people. Nah, fucking Chinese. Nah.
It's like, Chinese? We can't do no Chinese around here. What, are you out of your goddamn mind?
Oh, man. But maybe that's an Asian culture thing. Or no?
I think that's
This always happens. See, and I think, or I might be saying things like this because I only grew up with Koreans.
And that's,
So
again,
it all makes sense, you know?
Yeah, I think every culture wants that.
Right.
I don't think there's a culture out there, and I think if you tell me there is, I think you're either lying, or uneducated about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a culture out there that's gonna actively go, you must find someone not your race. And I don't know why I'm using that accent.
I don't know why.
But you know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you go to a black person and ask them, hey, did your parents say, you can only marry black people? They'll probably be like, no, but it was kind of assumed that I would marry a black person because my parents are both black and my grandparents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I hope most families now, they're just more open to it. We're exposed, especially in America, you're exposed to different races. But first gen parents, your parents are from Korea. They came off the boat. They came or a plane, probably. And they're also one of the biggest things, because this is what I've seen. And again, I'm a little bit older, as we all know. But from my parents, my father's no longer here. But one of the things they wanted to try to enforce was like the culture, because I know when you get to America, and I think this rings true for every ethnicity, that, or even the white settlers from Ireland or Italy or Germany first came here, that part of your culture eventually is going to disappear.
Yeah. Because
you're in America now, and it's a complete different culture. And and I think the thing is, as Asians, and I think with any proud ethnicity, which I think every ethnicity is proud, and every religion or every country's proud, is that it's almost like in hindsight they're like, you're gonna change, you're gonna be an American, but don't forget where you came from. And I think that's a lot where it stems from. I can't speak for your parents, but I think if you brought someone non-Korean home, yes, I think there would be oh my God, he's not married Korean.
Actually, my pops was straight up. He was like, get a Korean girl, or I don't mind a
Chinese girl.
No, a white blonde girl
from California.
Yeah, from California.
Yeah, blue eyes and
that's because I think that was the American dream. Like he wanted to ride motorcycles, and obviously there's citizenship stuff involved, and just just mixing the blood up Yeah, so
I just honestly, and I know, especially, I know Asian culture. I'm Asian. Opposite contrary to popular belief, I'm Asian.
Can you clarify your statement?
Contrary to popular belief, I am an Asian American, even though most people think I'm black or act black or emulate black culture, whatever the case may be. I grew up in an Asian household.
Yes.
My parents, my dad was a black guy. I mean, he loved jazz and black culture as well. So maybe I'm just following his footsteps. But that's neither here or there. But I know the rigid rules and the discipline of Asians. And I think your parents do want you to marry a Korean. But if you fell in love with someone outside of your race and you brought her home and she shared the same values that you and your parents did, I think they'd be cool with that. Would that be a true statement?
No, I think that would be cool. I mean, just how I might have a Chinese homie who
so you bring Vic home. This is my Korean friend Vic. Van Gogh.
As long as we, my point being is that whoever faith comes first, where that person.
So you're telling me that if you met a Jewish girl, that probably wouldn't fly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean,
you think they'd be comfortable with that?
I don't think. No, absolutely not.
And that's okay. It's not a stigma against Jewish
for me,
people.
it would go with obviously maybe it's the Korean first. Is she Korean?
It's a pride thing.
I'm not gonna say is he Korean, but is she?
Hey, that's okay too.
My parents are traditional, religious Christian.
So bringing a gay Jewish man would definitely not be cool.
I'd be curious to see how they respond.
We're speculating.
We're just speculating.
I was just speculating. And that would be pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
You bring a Jewish dude home.
I'm still.
This is my lover.
I'm still stuck on a lot of things before with Vic, but shout out to Vic again. Like
he's hurt, folks. He's hurt. He's hurt.
So yeah, I mean, for me, I think at the root, at the end of everything, it's whatever makes me happy, and and then like you said, if I love this girl and then I say she's the one, then so
we have a lot of conversations about long term. I mean, I was at one time at your age too, and when I was around your age, and I didn't have like the steady girl or the person that I thought I was the one, I was getting a little nervous.
Yeah,
I was like, well, what's gonna go on? Like, my life's not gonna be buy a house with a white picket fence, get married. Like, it's gonna be I'm gonna live in an apartment forever and I'll be by myself, lonely and cold. It's just like you. I know that your parents have very heavily influence on you, and that's everybody. That's me, and I'm pretty sure that's everybody across the board. But I also think that sometimes that stigma or that kind of pressure from your, you gotta marry this, you gotta do this. I think it affects us in life, like pursuing certain relationships, whether it be friends or whether it be a girl or boyfriend. It's kind of like, damn, I really like her, and she's not Korean. Like, God, how's this gonna bode if I bring her home? And you guys just met. Like, and I'm not saying splash in general. I'm just saying, like, those types of situations affect us because at the end of the day, for a long time, when I was dating, when I reached adult life and I was dating Asian women. I wasn't. And again, not that my parents had set an ultimatum like you got to date, but I wanted to. I wanted to be like, yo, I'm Filipino. Maybe I'll find another Filipino girl who emulates black culture and likes hip hop and likes basketball, and we'll hit it off. And it just didn't happen until my 30s, and that's the woman I decided to get married with. I think our parents' influence is extremely important, and because what they did to get us here to this point is phenomenal, right? So of course their opinion is going to be very heavy on our minds when we're making any type of decision. I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about buying a house, buying a car, getting a job, going to college, whatever that life stuff, because your parents are pushing you to do certain things. But at one point in life though, and it happened to me, I can't speak for everybody, there's going to come a time when you're like, am I living my life or am I living my parents' life? Or the life my parents want for me. Because I think at the end of the day, all your parents want is for you to be happy, healthy, and successful. Right. And I think all the other, you got to marry this, you got to be only friends with this, you can't eat this, you can't do this, you can't spend your money on sneakers, you got to save money for a down payment on a house, that shit goes out the window.
Talking about sneakers, you got to... Right.
I will tell the story about why I love footwear and why I love sneakers.
That's got to be a special
episode. On our sneaker episode. Because each, like, they're just pieces of rubber, suede, and plastic and leather. But this is like my life right here. This is I can probably pinpoint pieces of my life through these 100.
So tune in for the OG podcast show.
The OG podcast show, the sneaker episode.
No, I said the OG podcast show. I'm trying to get Joe to have his own, not podcast, but his own like YouTube channel or something. My man's is hilarious. Yo, comment,
I really appreciate
like,
that, bro.
subscribe. I
appreciate
you know,
that.
like, we gotta get him out there.
I don't know if I can.
So if you think he's funny, comment below
or email us, man.
Or email, email us.
Please email us.
Yeah,
we're desperate. Have you ever looked at an inbox?
Please zoom in.
And there's only 3 emails in there, and 2 of them are from Google, telling you how to use Gmail.
For the sake.
And the other one's from Shine. Shout out to Shine real quick.
Please email us. I mean, look at the fog in his glasses. Like, come on, times are tough. Just email us.
theyounggogpodcastshow at gmail.com. Or get us on Instagram. What is it again? Young guy? I don't know the Instagram.
What's YG?
Instagram? The video thing with the puppy faces?
Well, what's the point of saying... Well, why should I tell the Instagram? I think people know the Instagram. I don't know why they're not following us.
But this is only episode 5. You got to keep telling them.
All right, it's at YGOG Podcast Show. If you're too lazy to memorize what our email is, I made it so that you could just message us and they'll email us immediately, and we'll respond immediately.
Or in 6 days. Sorry, Shine. I didn't really mean to.
Yo, shout out to...
I really didn't mean an answer in 6 days. We just didn't have any messages, so I didn't figure I should check it every day. And I checked the email, and there's an unread email there from someone, and I'm like, yes!
Oh my God! Thank you, Shine, for sending us an email.
Yeah,
Well, on the
bro.
Wait, what?
That was racist, man.
How was this racist? I just said, oh my God.
Was he? If that was racist, email us.
Yo, yes, email us if that was racist. I don't know what accent that was. You know what I'm talking about. It's the video. Don't do this.
Shit was racist, bro.
Wait, the prayer hands?
I don't know.
And the oh my God.
Everything you just did a few minutes ago made me uncomfortable.
That is crazy. It was just this do you know the Cobra guy? Yeah. Potato number 1, potato number 2. That's what I was doing when it was moving.
He's African, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the accent you were trying to do?
That was the accent.
That was awful. The awful accent.
Alright, just for that, I'm going to put the link below. It's not whatever you think or thought it was. But if you thought it was, email us.
Don't think. Just email us. Like, if you have questions about dandruff, male pattern baldness, your mom's on your back.
Yeah.
I need someone to talk to, man. The younggogpodcastshow at gmail.com.
Maybe we could,
Email
could
us.
do an episode. I mean, if we get enough questions. Maybe it could be an episode about us reading the emails and answering questions. But that might be like 6 minutes for the podcast.
6 minutes? You're being generous, bro. Might
After
be
our
6
intro,
seconds,
it might be
honestly.
6
It might be 6 seconds. But, yo, we'd appreciate your feedback. So give us your comments. Give us your stories. We'd love to read them on the next show, whether it be on video or audio. Again, this is coming in both ways.
Yes.
But what does this mean? I mean, does this mean we're coming to a close?
I don't know. What else is there? The last thing we talked about was, well, from that topic we talked about. You lived hip hop culture. I learned hip hop.
I learned Asian culture. You lived Asian culture.
Yeah. You have any
Closing statements?
closing statements?
Yeah, I do actually.
This guy asked me for closing statement. If I had any closing statements, I asked him. He's like, "Yeah, I got
some
statements.
I got some things to say.
Yeah.
Well, I think based on the subject matter of today's podcast, I think let's not judge books by its covers. That makes sense, right?
Right.
Get
My voice cracked.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Right. You went from right. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I think don't judge a book by its cover. If you are in a bubble, right, whether it be because of people of the same ethnicity or the same religion, or the same, you guys like favorite books, walk out of that shit once in a while. Get to know your fellow man or woman. Just because someone doesn't look like you or does the things that you do, that you can't find cultural similarity. Well, not even cultural, just similarities, man. Everybody loves comic books. Like everybody, I mean, not everybody, but you can always find common ground with somebody out there.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, as Americans, whether you're a different religion or a different color, if you're here and this is the country that you love and the culture that you appreciate, you're an American. And I think it's our responsibility as Americans to start breaking down these imaginary doors that we've had, you know, because we have stereotypical assumptions of other ethnicities and religions, and just reach out and speak to somebody who is different from you, and guaranteed you'll probably find more things you have in common than you don't.
Wow, how many times you practiced that speech, bro?
Once.
Jeez, that look like you. That's from the heart? That's from the corazón?
From the corazón, mi amigos.
Yo, why? Wait. Okay, no.
That was racist. Was that racist? That was racist. Love my Latinos. I didn't mean to say that.
Shout out to my Mexicans in
Shout out to Dominicans and Puerto Ricans out in New York, New Jersey, man. I love Dominican food.
Shout out
Sorry,
to the
babe.
Heights.
Didn't mean to say that.
I think my last closing statement would be have an open mind. I mentioned in the episodes 2 weeks ago or 2 episodes ago about how we can't judge somebody for the way they are, and we can't have like our own expectations on them because we don't know how they were raised. We don't know how they were brought up.
Yeah.
Someone might have, been grown up in a bubble with just Koreans all their lives, and he's Korean, and it could be somebody else who didn't even grow with a bubble, but rather with a diverse community and diverse culture and different people, but then he can be Asian. So
That's true.
like
That's me.
and you, but when you see an Asian, be like, oh, you're like when I first met you, I said, oh, you're Filipino. Like I know, like just by the way you look. So I thought,
Cali,
since you're Filipino, you probably like this, that. You probably dress like obviously you're into streetwear. Like I'm already generalizing
Making your
it,
assumptions.
making my assumptions, but have an open mind. And what I really wanted to say was it really annoys me when somebody says, wow, that's so Asian, or that's so white, oh, that's so black. Like, can we just please just think before you speak? Like, please. Like, that's annoying. And, I should be a bit more gentle. I mean, I am a child of God. Make sure you all follow Child Worldwide. Can I plug this in? Or?
I think you already did.
Okay.
What a jerk.
Child dropping merch soon. Vic and I, we have a little collaboration going on for an upcoming missions trip to South Africa.
Why didn't you tell me that was him, bro?
I told you it was him.
Did you?
Bro, why don't you tell me you were Chinese?
Shirt collabo's done. Scratch it.
Collabo's done.
86, it's not happening.
But from the bottom of my heart, for those that follow us on Instagram, and I know some of y'all don't really follow us, but y'all
say they do.
Y'all would message us like personally and be like, hey, we're just having fun, and we just want to share this conversation with you. We're doing our best, and just thinking creatively how we can utilize the podcast platform and now video platform to really vamp up the content for you guys to tune in and really be engaged.
Did you say vamp? Ramp.
Yeah. Vamp.
What does vamp mean?
Don't you vamp?
Ramp.
Don't you vamp up the...
Ramp up.
Wow.
Subtle.
Subtle. Same
Subtle.
thing.
Subtle. Whatever.
Vic, am I wrong?
Oh.
Is it vamp it up? I'm right.
Isn't it ramp it up?
Oh, yo, that was 2-0.
Ramp it up like a ramp. You know what a ramp does? It goes from low to high.
Okay.
It's ramp it
Use
up.
ramp in a sentence.
Hold on.
No. It's
I'm just gonna Google it.
Now you got me questioning. Vamp.
It's ramp up.
I forgot what I even said. We trying to vamp it up. What does it say?
Ramp something up or ramp up, especially in reference
to
the production
This
of
how you know
goods.
this guy from the hood.
Increase or cause to increase in amount. They ramped up production to meet booming demand. That's what you meant, right? Vamp.
Can you look up
Chinese kid said vamp.
Look up
Korean
vamp.
kid said vamp.
Look up vamp, please.
It's short for vampire.
No. Oh.
Vamp? Is that even a word?
Yes.
Vamp up. Okay.
Isn't ramp?
Hold on.
Okay. Here we go.
Huh. Vamp up also works. Vamp and ramp mean the same. Cook up, fabricate, invent, manufacture, make up something artificial or untrue. Vamp up. Piece, something old with a new part. Vamp up an old speech. Vamp, patch. It doesn't mean the same thing. It means kind of turning something old and making it new.
So we're trying to vamp up and ramp up everything that we're doing here. Young GOG podcast show. I hope you guys are entertained. Hope you guys, have a takeaway. And I'm just happy that this is happening. And, shout out to Vic one time. Thank you, OG. Probably not going to thank you in the next episode. Getting all sentimental because it's our first video. But anyways, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank God. Just kidding.
I'm hunching over like I'm the hunchback. But
Just kidding.
It's your boy Splashy. We out here. Send me your song request and I'll sing it for you. Peace.
First and foremost, make sure to email us at theyounggogpodcastshow@gmail.com, spelled out. That's number one.
Yes.
Let them know about that.
Number 1, number 2,
Make sure to follow us on the YGOG Podcast Show on Instagram.
and our personal @Splash.
You can find this podcast and our other 4 or 3. Oh, other 4. This is 5. Yeah, we're at 5
What?
episodes.
Yeah.
This is our 5th episode. To catch our pilot and the other 3 episodes, you can find us on the Apple podcast app. I kept saying iTunes, so we're not on iTunes, but we're on the podcast app. So if you go to the podcast app and you find and look up the Young GOG Podcast Show, you'll find us there. You'll find us on Spotify, same thing, and across all platforms that offer podcasts. And shout out to Anchor. Shout out to Anchor one time.
Yeah, shout out to Anchor one time.
They're the platform we use to help distribute us across the podcast platforms. They've been a great deal of help. So, we're episode 5. Again, this has been an experiment for Splash and I. And to know that we've got to episode 5 and this is being our first video, really super proud moment for us. We hopefully, the content we're delivering is appealing to you guys. But if it's not and you want us to change it, you know what to do. Email us at the Young GOG Podcast Show. That's it for me on my side.
I already closed.
Oh, you already closed?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was your close up. My bad.
That was a close. Yeah, we got closed already.
All right. I guess we're done.
Alrighty.
Yo.
Peace.
Check us out. Peace.